103.3.
And now, it's Coast View with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome to Coast View. I hope everyone's having a great week in this week of Thanksgiving. And, it's a great moment to reflect. It's a great moment to reflect. In fact, tomorrow's show is going to be sort of a montage of leaders talking about what Thanksgiving means to them. I'm looking forward to doing that show. Just terrific. And then we move into Thursday and Friday. We'll actually have best of shows for Coast View. And then on Monday, we hit the ground running again. So no rest for the weary, that's for sure. So here we go. I want to, for the most of the time, we're just celebrating leadership and those kinds of things. But from time to time, as you know, especially if you're a regular listener, I'm going to get involved in issues that are important to the coast. And so today, we're going to talk about the new Popps Ferry Road Bridge and the potential that it could be a toll bridge. So let me, for people who don't know this, regular listeners know this, so just hang in there with me for a second. But I'm a resident of the northern shore back bay of Biloxi. And so the reality is, as it relates to the bridge, I'm not going to pretend to know everything there is to know about the new bridge. There's a lot to learn still. I paid attention. I've watched the city council meeting that occurred last week, and I've been deeply engaged in reading what I can read about it. And one thing I know for sure is a bridge needs to be replaced big time for emergencies. I had one with my granddaughter. Again, regular listeners know this, but I worry that if we had had some bridge issue, or maybe we were in the midst of hurricane evacuation and the drawbridge was up for extended periods of time, or stuck like it was recently as boats stacked up trying to get out of harm's way. If the emergency vehicles had to come from south of the bridge, it would have been a significant problem, and it probably has been for some families already. So that's a very significant issue. And as I pointed out, it's a big deal as it relates to hurricane evacuation. So today's going to be the first of many conversations we're going to have about this new proposed Popps Ferry Road Bridge. Okay, so let me get into a little bit more detail. Like I said, I live on the north shore of the bay, and to be very clear, my house is not impacted by this bridge. In fact, it could be argued that if this new bridge is well lit, it's actually going to be more aesthetically pleasing than the current bridge we have. So I just want to get that out there. And the other thing I'll say is that it's going to improve my life, my family's life, because we do a lot of driving around, and we go south on that bridge and come back home on that bridge daily. So it's a big deal, the current challenges that we're having with the bridge. I'm also a runner, and I bike, and I spend a lot of time going south on the bridge as well. And the current bike path or walking path, it's really not a bike path, is very narrow. So if you pass someone else, you have to stop and walk past them. And, for those of us who are on that bridge regularly in that way, that's a real issue. So the new bridge proposes to sort of resolve some of that. And anything like that is going to be a really good thing. So the only other thing that I would say that I would hope and I would assume that this is the case, that for those of us who are on the northern shore, who use the deep water access that we have going down the bridge currently, that we're not going to lose access to deep water while the bridge is under construction. I assume that's unlikely, but it's still something that's going to be really important to me. Okay. Otherwise, as it relates to those things, there's not really an otherwise. I think you can see that I'm a major proponent of a new bridge. We need a new bridge. But if you're a follower of me on Facebook, which you see me already write, and I wrote this last week, that I have serious reservations about the toll. I think it's possible my concerns could be overcome, but I have concerns about it. So I'm going to become a student of the bridge and learn as much as I can. But there's no avoiding the reality that I have immediate, deep concerns about the toll. But I want to be clear, I haven't closed the door on it. There's a lot to learn. So the city is investigating what is called a full funding and delivery approach. Now, what that essentially means is they'll hire a private company, in this particular case, United Bridge Partners, to do a turnkey solution where they will finance the bridge and build the bridge. I'll tell you a little bit more about the numbers involved in that in just a second. And they'll use a toll to pay for it. there's a lot of reasons why this could be a good approach. There are tremendous funding constraints currently. I mean, and I could detail those. We may get into some of those during the conversation, but just trust me, it's a major problem. And I'm going to give you some statistics that I learned about here in just a second. What United Bridge Partners will do is they're going to build a bridge that we need and we want. That there's little doubt about that. With the drawbridge has to be replaced. And if we don't go the toll route, which again, I'm not a big proponent of at this moment, then it will take basically our lifetime to build a bridge, or maybe it won't get built in our lifetime. Excuse me, will Biloxi residents want to replace the bridge more than they oppose a toll approach? That remains to be seen. But essentially, the bridge would cost about $170 million. It'll take about 4 to 5 years to build. I've done a lot of research on this, and what I've discovered is that about 220, and there are different numbers on this, but I'm just going to pull this one particular number, 220,000 U.S. bridges need major work or should be replaced. That's a big number. If you look at the White House's numbers, they said about 45,000 bridges are in poor condition. So that's very consistent with that. And that source, the initial source, the American Road and Transportation Builders Association. Forbes said that 45,000 bridges are structurally deficient, and at the current rate, it would take about 40 years to fix them all, and that's just fix them. And it would cost about $41.8 billion. About $110 billion is currently line itemed in the current infrastructure bill to fix major highways and bridges, and about $40 billion is identified for bridges alone. So anyway, there's a lot to sort through. We're not going to do it all in this meeting, but I want to welcome Ryan Dolan, who I've invited to join me. He's the VP of Business Development for United Bridge Partnerships, and we're gonna start the beginning of a long conversation about this. And he's the one who presented before the City Council of Biloxi. But before we go any further, Ryan, let me just say good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Happy to be with you, and thanks for having me on.
Good. So you heard what I said to start out with. You guys did a focus group. We're going to come back to that in just a second. But essentially, my belief that we've got to replace the bridge, and also the fact that I have serious reservations about the toll, is not inconsistent with what you expected, is it?
No, and really we see this same dynamic on all of our projects. Everyone's initial reaction to a toll is typically pushback, right? People don't want to pay a toll on a route where there's not currently a toll. So not unexpected at all. And you described some of the funding challenges in the country. I would say particularly for cities like Biloxi, that challenge is exacerbated. So that's really why there's a need for what we have to offer. But yeah, in terms of a reaction and initial feedback to the toll, not unexpected at all.
So I spent the last many years of my career working in digital media and doing some really significantly bold digital media news efforts, one in New Orleans that got worldwide attention. And so I've been involved in significant change efforts for the latter part of my career. And so I've been involved in a lot of focus groups. I've done lots of research to try to anticipate what reaction is going to be. And I guess you guys have done a lot of that as well. Along the way, I've seen some really big misses. That we expect is one result, and we got another in terms of reaction. What I see, now this is just anecdotally at this point, because that's all you can do is look at anecdotally. Just so far, if you look at Facebook, and doing change like this in the social media world adds a whole nother dynamic. You know that, I know that, I think everybody understands that. But the initial reaction specifically to the toll is pretty significant. How do you guys weigh this against what you learned in the focus groups, and how do you bring some relevancy to the social media conversation and make sense of it?
Yeah, so first thing I would say is, we're completely sensitive to the impact that a toll is going to have in this area. This is a new concept. It's a major change. So we're sensitive to that fact, and we understand it's going to take time for people to accept this, right? And so, what we try to do on all of our projects, and we'll do the same here in Biloxi, is really get out into the public, educate people why we've made this proposal, do shows like this with you to explain and get the word out. We'll also be doing town halls and things of that nature, but really it's really important that we are upfront about what we've offered and why we've offered it, and we'll continue to do that over the coming months here.
Well, it's clear from the research that I've done that United Bridge Partners is not new to this whole conversation about potential and actual community pushback. So when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Ryan Dolan. He's the VP of Business Development for the company that is proposing building a toll bridge for the city of Biloxi, and we'll continue the conversation on the other side. We'll see you after this.
Coast View on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
It's 2021 and J. Allen Toyota still has a lifetime warranty on all new Toyotas. They all come with Toyota Care. We've got a great rental department. We've got great used cars. We've got a parts and service department ready to help you. So when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Of outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visit.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever. Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We're going to continue the conversation related to a new Popps Ferry Road Bridge that is currently not proposed to be a toll road. It's just an incredibly important community discussion that's taking place that the mayor and city council have opened up a conversation around. And I think what they're saying is, if we want a bridge in our lifetime, this is a really, really viable approach. And and my research suggests that that's not an untrue statement, because the reality, even with the infrastructure bill, there are going to be unbelievable competitive situation that's going to play out over years and years and years. So anyway, we have to decide what we want to do as it relates to all that. So, hey, Ryan, before we go any further, how long have you been with United Bridge Partners?
So I've been with UBP for about coming on 3 years next May. So a little over 2.5 years. Been involved on a number of project development initiatives over those almost 3 years, and specifically have been working on this project in Biloxi for about 1.5 years now.
Yeah. So you live in Virginia?
No, so I live in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have offices and projects in 5 states, in Illinois, Indiana, Virginia, Michigan, and West Virginia.
Okay. And so I had a bunch of questions, and we've got 11 minutes and 30 seconds, so we can spend a little bit of time kind of focusing on some of these. But
sure.
When you look at a bridge like the Popps Ferry Road Bridge, and when you go into a community, do you have classes of bridge that say this bridge leans more commercial? Is there a continuum about that? This bridge leans more residential. How do you, when you look at, and do you look at the Popps Ferry Road Bridge as sort of a residential bridge?
Yeah. So when we look at new projects, at a very basic level, we look for projects where there's a need to replace or repair a bridge, and potentially, a lack of funding or expertise to do so. And so that's kind of what brings us to an area in the first place. Related to kind of the dynamics of each project, yes, we understand that this is a heavily residential bridge. And that's honestly one of the main challenges with the project, right? Given that this is a toll proposal, obviously it's going to have an impact on the residents of Biloxi, particularly those that live in the proximity to the bridge. I would just say that's why it was really our number one priority as we put our proposal together, to show preference to Biloxi residents and try and offer a subsidized toll rate for a per trip toll, as well as a monthly unlimited use pass for particularly those residents that are going to use the bridge multiple times a day.
Yeah. I was talking to someone this morning who we got into a conversation about this, and they said, sure, it'd be good if that super Walmart or the Walmart were still down there, because right now what's there is a temporary storage facility or whatever. So a lot of the people who are using the bridge currently are using it just to kind of get around town. A lot of people who use that bridge, as you well know, are driving across the bridge and going into Keesler or going to work in various places, or getting access to Highway 90 and then going to work. That's why at the end of the day you see this mad dash rush to get back over the bridge to come back to the northern shore. So it's clearly, I think the current average is about 40,000 cars a day. Is that what you guys are looking at?
About 20,000 cars a day.
20,000. Okay. Yeah. 20,000 cars. And it can be as high as what?
During peak travel times, I don't have the numbers offhand, but yeah. I would assume it can be, higher, lower, depending on the time of day or the time of year.
So as I mentioned to you before we started the show, one of the things that people here can kind of get their head around, something like Orange Beach. When you go to Orange Beach, you go down that highway that gives you access to the bridge. You get a toll that comes back to your house that's based on your tag. And then when you go to the toll booth, you pay for the toll for the bridge. And people sort of get that. And then when people from here go to Disney World or wherever they're going to go in Florida, they'll go through toll roads along the way as well. They kind of get that. What I think they're struggling with is a toll bridge in the heart of the city, a toll bridge that's heavily residential. have you guys been involved in a bridge scenario like this one before?
Yeah, so actually our project in Bay City, Michigan shares a lot of similarities to the project here in Biloxi. That project went through a similar process where the city owned 2 bascule style bridges or drawbridges. They really didn't have the financial capability to repair and replace those bridges. And so we came in and offered, as you described it, a turnkey funding and delivery solution to deliver those projects for that community. Both of those bridges are, heavily resident traveled bridges. They also have alternatives similar to what we have here in Biloxi. But yes, we have experience with a resident heavy bridge like we have here in Biloxi.
Okay, so from the time you did the first big city council meeting and did your presentation sort of like last week to the time you started, how much time passed in Michigan?
Yeah. So Bay City went through a similar request for proposal process where they understood the need for the project. They put out a competitive solicitation similar to what the city of Biloxi did. And then our project was formally selected by the city, and we gave a presentation in August of 2019. Then we spent the next several months both discussing the development agreement and working in the community to, more or less sell the project, similar to what we're doing here in Biloxi. And so it was about a 4-month process between when we made our presentation to City Council and when it was formally approved by City Council.
That was quick.
Yeah, so call it August to December was the timeline for, City Council presentation to City Council approval.
So what was the other thing is I don't know anything about Bay City, Michigan. So what are the demographics there relative to the demographics in Biloxi?
So similar size, a little bit smaller than what we have here in Biloxi, about a population of about 30,000. In terms of demographics, similar, maybe a little bit more low income individuals. But in terms of size, demographics, similar. Obviously, the weather is different, so that's in Midwest cold territory, whereas we're in a Gulf Coast environment down here. And then in terms of kind of geography, we've committed to rebuild 1 bascule bridge, repair another, and that city has 4 total bridges kind of in the proximity. So there's going to be 2 tolled structures and then 2 free remaining structures. So I would say that's also a similarity to what we have here in Biloxi, where if this project moves forward, the Popps Ferry Bridge would be tolled, and then Lorraine Road and I-110 would remain open as free routes, obviously.
So when you look at the opposition that occurred during those 4 months, did you kind of, on a scale of 1 to 10, what did it look like?
In terms of intensity?
Yes.
So, I would say people at first are kind of shocked that, hey, why do we have to consider an option like this? Why are we moving forward? And then, like I said, we go through an education process, talk about, okay, what are the different options for delivering this type of project? What is the likelihood that those other options are going to happen? And then there's really kind of an acceptance period, right? And so it went from, I would say anger and kind of uncertainty about the project to acceptance over that time period. And really that's why this education period and doing town halls, talking to people in the community, coming on shows like this are really important to get people to understand, why do we have to go forward with this project?
So Ryan, one of the things that I think it's going to create a little confusion and maybe hope. I don't know that I could say false hope, because there's always a chance that the current infrastructure bill money in the current infrastructure bill could be applied down here. And sure, people might be saying, why rush into a toll scenario until we really know the answer on how the infrastructure bill could apply to Biloxi. How do you answer that?
Yeah, so, and I understand that there's new money coming into the environment, and everyone wants to get a piece of that. The reality of the situation is that there's still, even with the new infrastructure bill, there still isn't enough money out there and funding out there to fund all of the needs in this country. So just to give you kind of a sense of existing programs, there's Raise and Infra grants. Those have about a 5 to call it 10% award rate. And so it's still extremely unlikely, and it takes time to secure those federal funds.
So Ron, let's do this. As I pointed out, this is the first of many conversations. I think this is kind of a good first conversation, to kind of set the stage for people who've not been paying close attention. They can see sort of what some of the big issues are going to be around this. And we'll come back in the next couple of weeks, and we'll sort of weigh where we are on that. I'll spend some time with Fofo Gillich. And if there's any opposition that comes up that's organized, we'll give them an opportunity to join me on Coast View as well. But for now, I think we're in a good spot. I wish we had the whole show dedicated. We unfortunately don't, but it would be, I look forward to visiting with you soon. Okay, buddy?
Okay, sounds good. Thanks again for having me on.
This has been Ryan Dolan from United Bridge Partners, and we'll come back to him in the next couple of weeks and just continue the conversation. We'll see you after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast View on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever. Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Get the scoop on what happened in college football and what to expect in the NFL. Each Sunday on Sports Sunday with Michael Borky. Get the story behind the stats, 8 to 10 a.m. on SuperTalk Mississippi, supertalk.fm, and watch the show on supertalk.tv. SuperTalk Mississippi. We're more than just words. This is where the story of your state is told. Proud to cover the Magnolia State like nobody else. SuperTalk Mississippi.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visit.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer-songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard. And
wow.
You know, all this stuff was going on at the same time. Slash, I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back. Now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out. The new Bob 106.3.
And now, it's Coast View with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on Super Talk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast View. I enjoyed that conversation with Ryan Dolan, the VP of Business Development for United Bridge Partners. Obviously, he's very articulate. He's been doing this for about 2.5 years with United Bridge Partners. He's been involved in some other projects. Of course, United Bridge Partners has been working all across the United States. Now, look at them as really kind of a financial institution almost, and that bridges happen to be the tool that they're using, but essentially what they would be doing is loaning the city $170 million. City gets this turnkey solution on a bridge, and they pay for it with tolls. And as I said, I'm really very much for the new bridge, and I'm very much I have very serious concerns about the toll. I mean, it's just the reality. That's where I stand right now. But if we want a bridge in our lifetime, this may be the only option. I want to understand more about the infrastructure bill, the allocations to Mississippi, and how we might get our hands on some of that. We'll come to that resolution at some point. But for the time being, I will commit several segments over the course of the next few months to having conversations about this, making sure we understand both sides of the story and both sides of the project and all their other alternatives. I look forward to talking to FOFO about that in the near future. Now let's shift gears and move to my friend Cynthia Sutton, who's the executive director of the Ocean Springs Chamber. She's also involved in tourism in Ocean Springs, and always enjoy my conversations with her. But this is Tuesday, and this is Thanksgiving week, Cynthia. This is the moment in time, the time of the year where we're all focused on pausing. At least we're hopefully pausing for a second to give thanks and to think about the holiday season and whatever. But how's life in Ocean Springs?
Busy as always. Yes, we're glad to have Thanksgiving week. Everybody is ready to take a moment to go home and enjoy time with their families. But we are in full holiday mode here in Ocean Springs, as we have hopefully recovered from cruising in Peter Anderson. So it's good here.
Well, I tell you, I had a great conversation last week with Robert St. John about the documentary about Walter Anderson and the book that should be out anytime. That was hung up on a ship off the coast of California, the port of California. But
that's crazy.
But it's the definitive book on Walter Anderson, and the documentary is the definitive documentary on it. And I significantly predict that once sort of the rest of the world gets to know Walter Anderson, it will have a George Orr type impact on his art. I really predict that, because as he pointed out in the conversation, as Robert pointed out in the conversation, and as Julian Rankin has pointed out many, many times in the past, that Walter Anderson had this unique ability to either write about or do art around the sense of place that's so special about where we live. But he was a Renaissance man, and the rest of the world's about to find out, aren't they?
They are. It was really, really cool to hear about this book and hear what the two guys are doing, putting this together. It's amazing. Like you said, it's a documentary of of Walter Anderson, but it also gives you a look into the family. The family is very protective. They're wonderful, love working with the family. And it's just, I heard at one point when somebody was rewatching it that they were crying just because of knowing the family and knowing how they are. And I think you are right 100%. It's going to give a whole new perspective into the life of Walter Anderson. And I like what you said, because I always say this too when I have to speak or talk a little bit about economic development in the arts. The Anderson family really did, starting with Walter Anderson's mom, really did start an art colony in the community that started people moving and living here and starting businesses here. So they are definitely the forefront runners in creating economic development of what our town is today. So it is very, very honorable to have this new book coming out.
Well, just a couple of another quick points about Walter Anderson. He was a prolific artist. They really understood after his death how prolific he really was. Mm-hmm. But he was also a prolific writer. He wrote a lot. He was a big, deep thinker. And one of the things I shared in the conversation with Robert was something that Walter Anderson wrote. And if you think about going out to the islands and sitting in quietness of the island and just taking it all in, this kind of describes that. But let me read a quote to you, because I think this is really a good one. He said, "All movement is to invisible music. It comes from the sun and the wind and a rabbit and a crowing cock. And together it's part of a great symphony. The longer we listen and the quieter we are, the more we hear. And when we do hear, we are part of the music instead of an unwelcome interruption." Wow. I mean,
love that.
And so many more. I got just in my own research about him. I gathered so much. One of the things I pointed out is I've got one of the paintings that he did of a pelican over my bed at our guest bedroom. And when I look at that now, I've always appreciated his unique style, but when I look at it now, it even means more to me now. And my prediction is the rest of the world will soon know as well. And it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. So that would be great. So tell me about getting ready for the holidays in Ocean Springs.
Yes. Well, in Ocean Springs, the holiday season, the Christmas holiday season, is a very important season for our business community. Of course, the spirit of the season and the reason for the season, but it really helps our business community. One of the things sustain, they get through cruising, they get through Peter Anderson. That's literally, like I said, what helps their business thrive. And then the holiday season is just like the the top of it. This is where they want to get rid of the rest of their inventory. They've spent all year getting ready for the Christmas holidays. And in Ocean Springs, these businesses, these small businesses, we have more than 100 in walkable downtown of shops, restaurants, galleries that people, it really the way that you can find one of a kind, unique gifts. So our businesses are ready. We have some fun events coming up, and we actually have a really cool holiday gift guide that we just put on our Facebook page so people can kind of see what those unique gifts are from those shops.
That's so cool. I love, again, Ocean Springs, but we talk about this as it relates to all the emerging, neat things in each of the cities that make up coastal Mississippi. But the whole notion of parking and there's just walking around and taking it all in, and the decorations and the sense of life and spirit that's in the city. I mean, it is a special time of year there, isn't it?
It is. We do have that unique downtown that no other town on coastal Mississippi has, but of course it works as a whole partnership. But we have that unique walkable downtown that you just literally you get in the holiday spirit by seeing those decorations, by visiting those businesses. And of course, you're always going to find something. So who doesn't love shopping, especially during the holidays? But yeah, I mean, this month, our businesses, some of them are having extended hours, so you'll have more time to shop. And, some of them are going to have some cool things for the holiday open house, refreshments and snacks. And some of them are going to actually carry that on through the holiday season. So you'll feel warm and hopefully welcomed, just like at home when you come shop Ocean Springs this month.
I kind of envision kind of a cool day with some spiced tea, sipping on it, walking down the sidewalk, maybe hearing in the distance some, jingle bells playing, or maybe White Christmas. That's what it's, I mean, that feeling that you have, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Exactly. And I mean, it's cool that you mentioned Spice and Tea because a lot of people don't know. They actually you can actually sample their tea. So, it's a fun way to get out and kind of be a little interactive throughout town, not just downtown, uptown, all around town. But, oh yeah, that's our plan. We want people to feel just like that shopping with us in Ocean Springs this month.
We can't overemphasize how important small business is to the backbone of the Ocean Springs economy, can we?
No, I mean, that is like that. I like to say, along coastal Mississippi, each town has their different attractors, and in Ocean Springs, our attractors are our small businesses. We have attractions like the Mary C., the Walter Anderson Museum of Art, but literally that is its own kind of shopping district that is an attraction in itself to anyone from around anywhere. I mean, I've been actually already shopping that holiday gift guide, so I'm excited.
Hey, so when people come in, so you have the Ocean Springs Chamber side of things, but then you have the tourism side of things where people stop by to get information about the city. What's it look like these days? What's the flow of people from outside the area? What's that look like?
Well, it's kind of cool. Finally, before I say finally, it's due to COVID and everything. Tourism numbers have dropped substantially. People just haven't gotten out and traveled, but we hear that people are getting out again. And we actually saw that record increase around cruising. On average, we get around 400 to 500. I don't know if we're going to get back up to that. Visitors that come through the Ocean Springs Visitor Center every month. And cruising, we actually hit those numbers again. So we're starting to see that increase. And we get people from all over. During the cruising and Peter Anderson time, we had people from California, New York, you name it. Our goal is by the end of the year to hopefully have someone from all 50 states come by.
Yeah, I can see that could be possible for sure. This is Cynthia Sutton. She's the executive director of the Ocean Springs Chamber. She's also involved in tourism there. When we come back, I want to look back at the Peter Anderson Festival, and just because I heard it went really well. So I want to talk more about what's the results of that. We'll see you after this break.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Dale Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera flips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. Look, if you're a regular listener to Coast View, you know that I spend a lot of time with chamber executives all across the coast because they really they have a good feel for the heartbeat of their communities. And as I will always say every chance I get, that at the backbone of a great economy, any economy of a city, that you will always find small business, and everything we can do to help make their lives better and to help them improve their business situation, especially coming out of the pandemic and with all the supply chain issues and all this other stuff. They need us. They need our help. So, hey, Cynthia, you guys, okay, so we're going into Thanksgiving, but then we really get into the holiday season in a big way. Yep. What do you guys have planned around that?
Well, our big holiday promotion, we've named it last year, By Golly Be Jolly. That's our holiday campaign. And starting Small Business Saturday, November 27th, through the holiday open house weekend, which is December 3rd and 4th, but we also have something on the 5th. That's our main holiday push. Our businesses are going to have specials like no other, starting on Small Business Saturday the 27th. And then again, we have the tree lighting event, which is going to be amazing, in downtown Ocean Springs on Thursday, December 2nd with Santa and movie on the lawn and all kind of cool stuff and activities. Great partners to put that on for December 2nd, 6 to 8 p.m. And then the holiday open house on the 3rd and the 4th. And then the Discover Christmas Parade Sunday the 5th. It's just going to be a week long of specials, activities, Santa sightings everywhere. We have Buddy, our elf, on the shelf that's going to be out and about. He helped us create the gift guide. He's going to be showing you things around town. We'll have elves around town passing out cookies sporadically during the holiday open house. Christmas caroling by First Baptist Church around town. And then, of course, you'll see coming to life over the next week or so, our downtown just hopefully coming to life with decorations.
That's cool. And again, I can just feel it as you talk about it. Okay, so let's look back at the Peter Anderson Festival. You guys have made a lot of refinements in it. You sort of limited the number of booths so that the quality would be there. That's a big learning from the pandemic. How did it go? How did it go?
It went great. Every couple of years I say, record crowds, best event ever. I would have to say this probably was it reached a new high due to COVID. Like you said, we did downsize. We went to 350 vendor booths where we used to have 450. So with that new standard, we reached a new high. Record sales just from these vendors alone. The sales tax report that we turned into the state was $85,000. That's
wow.
just the 7%.
That,
from vendors
that's very
only,
significant.
not our shops, not our restaurants, and everybody had record sales and record crowds. So,
wow. So you got lucky on the weather?
Yes, we did. 2 beautiful days, a little chilly in the morning, but warm enough in the afternoon, which I kind of like it that way because you can kind of layer. And then in the afternoon, you can sit out at the food court and enjoy lunch or, right before 5, enjoy dinner. So the weather was amazing, which of course adds to the whole thing. And I mean, there was nonstop people activity all day, both days. I mean, I think people were still out purchasing on Sunday after 5 o'clock.
That's incredible. Hey, one of the things I was out of town this year, but when I go to the Peter Anderson Festival each year, the thing that hits me as you walk around there is that, my goodness, there are so many talented artists. I mean, you don't always see that when you go just to the art stores. Which, in the art store, you're going to see incredible artists. But when you in that environment, the collection of artists of all kinds, from potters to painters and all points in between, it's really impressive, isn't it?
It is. It's a juried fine art show, which that's what helps us get that quality up. But it's become so nationally known amongst artists that we had artists this year from Virginia, Texas, Montana, California, Florida. I mean, I hadn't figured out the numbers to see if they came from how many states, but they came from all over the U.S. and they bring a quality like no other. And a cool thing that I actually noticed, and this happens from time to time, and this happened this year, that some of our local shops actually find new artists to exhibit in their shops, new products to put in their shops through some of the vendors at Peter Anderson Festival. And I saw that happen this year.
Well, I mean, hey, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Because what a great way to see, artists that maybe you saw last year and during the past year, they've taken it to a whole new level. What about new burgeoning artists that are just being discovered?
Yeah, and we had several of those as well. We even had one that we featured at the Blue Moon Kickoff event, an emerging new artist, a muralist artist, an abstract artist, and he was at the festival as well. So we probably had a little over 1/3 new vendors from all over that have never been to Peter Anderson Festival.
That is so impressive. Who doesn't love Ocean Springs? What a great community. I love the city for a lot of reasons, but one of which is that democracy is alive and well. People are engaged in that community. There's a lot of voices to make sure the outcomes are in keeping with maintaining the sense of place and also still growing at the same time. But anyway, Cynthia Sutton from the Ocean Springs Chamber, from the tourism effort there as well. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You guys too. Thank you.
You bet. We'll see you later. And have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow with a special edition well, actually, the special edition is Thursday, Thanksgiving. Tomorrow we'll have a normal show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.